What's up guys? Welcome back to episode 2 of the ground up drift build series for this car. On this episode we're going to be diving into the steering and suspension because we all know that that's the most important part about setting up a proper drift car. So today we're going to start by removing the stock suspension, dropping out the subframes, the arms, cleaning everything up, getting it painted, and getting it ready to reassemble with some new parts. So let's get to it. All right, so now we got everything off the front driver's side. We got the struts out, lower control arm, got the tension rod out, which is the bushings are completely shot. The only thing that gave me a problem was the one sway bar end link ended up snapping because it's a little rusty, but wasn't too bad. Now that we got all this out, let's move on to the rear. All right, so now that we got the rear subframe down, came out really easy. It only took about 10 bolts because the rear calipers were already off. There was no drive shaft in the car, so this thing dropped in like 5 minutes. But now what we're gonna do, we're gonna take all the arms off, we're gonna take the axles out, we're gonna take the diff out, we're gonna weld the diff, replace all the arms, and probably in the process, we're probably gonna clean and probably respray the subframe so it looks nice.
What? I'm the star. Justin doesn't like to talk to the camera, neither do I, so.
All right, now that we got all these parts out and disassembled, made a huge mess in the shop, we're gonna send off some of these parts to get cleaned, painted, and ready to reassemble. All right, so now that we got everything dropped out, we're gonna start by removing these old, We're gonna start by removing these old worn out bushings in the rear knuckles. I'm not a fan of burning them out because it smells, it's messy, and it's just not a very fun thing to do. So I'm gonna show you guys how I do it, which is a little bit cleanlier. So yeah, we're gonna start by putting a 3-jaw puller on here, and we're just gonna tighten the bushing down until it pops out. You might need a little bit more leverage or a better tool. Okay, so now that we got the first one out, there's still the 2 sleeves left in here from the original bushings that still need to come out to put in the new bushings. So we're gonna cut them out with a Sawzall. And then use the 3-jaw puller to press them out. So I'll show you guys how we do that. Make sure the jaws are not covering up the sleeve. Well, we're caught here. So now that we got the bushings removed out of the knuckles, we're gonna move on to the rear lower control arms. These are a little bit harder to do, but we're gonna do it with the same technique. Next up, we've got the stock S13 lower control arms, which we've already cut, and we're gonna have our fabricator, Nico, weld them up, and he's gonna walk you through the process.
So Justin's already cut these stock control arms, and we have a 12mm spacer that Justin mocked up. It's a pretty nice fit, so I'm just gonna have to grind some bevels in there and weld them up. I'm gonna be using a TIG welder. It's a Miller, and we will get started. All right, guys. I know we should probably put this on a jig or something, hold it tight, but the way I'm gonna weld this, it won't warp too much, and we'll knock it into place if we need to. So I just finished welding these spacers up. We're not done yet. We got to cut these bump stops off, make a plate for the bottom to reinforce, because these are still stock and a little flimsy. A little reinforcement will do a lot of work. Justin's going to take care of that, and I'm going to weld it up, and I'll see you guys later.
So now that we've got all the OEM bushings and sleeves cut out of these knuckles, it's time to install these energy suspension bushings. So here we've got a ball joint removal tool, and we are going to use it to press the new bushings in. So now that we got the bushings done and installed and we're covered in grease, 4 hours later, let's go take a look at the rest of the parts that we're going to be installing.
I think it's pretty nice. For a little bit of this and a little bit of that, can't go wrong.
We're putting some Stancy boys in here. Stancy boys.
Oh! Farm paint inking it like that.
Hell no.
Alright, sufficient start. There she goes. Alright, let's get her on the press. He wasn't even.
You going to jail now?
Send it.
It's just drag racing, baby.
She doesn't want to go in right.
Yep. What the fuck?
What the fuck was that?
What?
I don't know, dude.
That was farting out of his mouth. That was a mouth fart.
Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, 2x4.
So I'm going to grab one of these. It's all prepped already. Nice fresh surface. This plate will go somewhere. I gotta figure that out again. It's all labeled, but And then we got this plate up here, bump stop on the side. Let me get this tacked in, and I'll catch up with you guys in a second. I got one welded up. I'm gonna let it cool down. I'll weld this one up, but I'll send you back to Justin. And thanks for hanging out.
All right, so here we have the whole S13 front suspension laid out on the ground. So let's start with the knuckle. We got these B knuckles made by Heatmaker. They're Naoki's knuckles made in the USA. We got 5-lug conversion hub, Moog S14 inner tie rods with an SPL outer. We have our 15mm extended lower control arms, which are boxed and reinforced with new ball joints, stock S13 sway bar, and we have the Stance XR coilovers with custom spring rates. Shout out to our boys over at Stance for hooking us up. If you guys are interested, all these parts are available on our website for purchase. And here we have a solid steering shaft bushing that we make in-house here at Faction. And next we're gonna be running these Advan RG2s all around. They're 17 by 9.5 plus 22, I believe. Could be wrong. I actually don't know what they are. See if it says it. 17 by 9.5. And in the rear, we're gonna be running stock rear lower control arms with new ball joints. We have these SPC arms, which are a good alternative to ISR if you're looking for something relatively cheap. We have stock knuckles with the energy suspension bushings, 5-lug hub, GK Tech dual caliper bracket kit with the Willwood calipers, stock rear brake calipers, and again, the custom spring rate Stance XR coilovers. And we also are running stock rear sway bar, Stance subframe risers, and we have our welded diff that we do in-house, which is also available. We offer a service to weld diffs if you're interested in doing that. And that's about it. All right, and now the fun begins. Let's put it all together. You're gonna wanna make sure you use anti-seize on all of your suspension parts. Every arm, your coilover sleeves, saves lives. The other thing you're gonna wanna do when you're installing your traction arm is make sure that this bolt is going in from the back if your subframe's out. Because if once you put the subframe in, if your bolt's in this way, you won't be able to take it out because it hits the chassis. So make sure the bolt goes in from the back. now installed on the subframe. Took a little bit longer than I would have liked, but ran into a few little issues with the dual caliper setup. It's actually my first time installing this GK Tech setup, so you had to drill the holes out in the Willwood calipers just a little bit bigger. So that took a little bit extra time, but no big deal. So now we got all together, so now we're gonna put it in the car.
Stance suspension, faction approved. Gotta answer people on Instagram.
You answering them DMs?
Answering those DMs.
What are they saying?
Asking about harnesses,
Stickers?
origin fenders. No stickers. Please buy the stickers, man. I sold 4 of them so far.
That's an engine? He had all the caps backwards. 5 is supposed to be here. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh boy.
And then look at this main fucking bearing. The main bearings usually don't go bad. It's usually the rod bearings. But
Wow, the bearing material just peeled off.
yeah.
Where's the rest of the material?
So that's a wrap for this episode, but it's not quite a wrap for our suspension. We still got to tweak a couple things, do an alignment, get her set up. Shout out to all the companies who help support us and get this car finished in a timely manner. The next episode is going to be focused on roll cage, interior, seats, harness, all that fun stuff. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
What the?
Right, but whatever. Look at those RG fucking whatever, R2D2s. You sound really upset about it. Like, I should have just. You shouldn't sound so upset about it.
Alright guys, we don't have a jig! We don't have one!
Alright, don't look at me while like look.
Alright, so next up.
There it is. There it is.